Hi pals, it's me, RT, they them pronouns only, and this week's video is the medical cannabis update, to be honest. To be honest, I have been putting it off because it's not exactly a fast process, but I feel like we've kind of settled into something a lot more consistent, a lot less chaotic, and I have the story to share and then some thoughts and tips and whatever as well. So I think where I left this last video off was I had a conversation with the Zerenia clinics, like customer service people, basically to be like, this has been a fucking awful experience all around. Like, you can't just tell me that it's one person's problem. Everybody I speak to or try to get any answers from have been fucking terrible. So I decided after that conversation I was going to give them another chance, and it just continued to not go well. Basically, I was getting towards the end of my first oil that I was given, and I was like, okay, I need a repeat prescription please. They couldn't get the same oil. I was like, that's fine, whatever. Can someone, like, can it just be prescribed that I have something of a similar strength or whatever, either the same price or under? I think the first one I paid for was 150. They booked in an appointment that I couldn't make, but they were like, if you can't make it, that's fine, they'll just sort it out for you anyway. So the oil that came was cheaper. It was £120, I think, but it was a lot stronger than what I was on, which is also fine. I was taking a lot, like it wasn't going to last even, like it would probably maybe last a month, and that's a lot of money per month. So I went from like it was really weak with the THC, so it was something like 5 milligrams, milliliters, whatever their measurement system is, to like 30 of CBD. The one I received was, I think it was meant to be 15-30, but it ended up being 17 to 29 or something. So that was more than 3 times as strong as the first one I had, which, I mean, that's fine by me, but it was a whole extra learning curve with trying to work out how much to take. I kept taking too much and then kind of being stuck in my chair for 2 hours, feeling kind of weird, because if I moved too much, my body was like, no thank you, actually. But eventually it was like fine. I worked out that I just basically did not need to take very much. And also, yeah, that's the thing with oils, is the higher the potency, the cheaper it is in general to buy, because then it will last longer. And I can't remember what necessarily, there were other issues that were just going on, and the same issues as before, and I can't really remember specifically what they were. I think it was literally just those issues with getting a repeat oil. I think I contacted maybe the person that I had been talking one-on-one with, and was like, yeah, I would think I'd prefer to just continue working with the same person. So she told me to just use the subject of the email to, like, for the attention of and her name. So when I did that, somebody else answered but didn't tell me that she was away. So I was like, I don't want to talk to you. We have an agreement that this is what's going to happen because I've had so many issues with your service. So the subject says for the attention of someone else, and you are not that person. So, and they were like, oh, she's away on holiday, but I'll leave it for this person. And I was like, fine, but you should have fucking told me that. The usual communication problems I have literally everywhere, where it was literally just like, people don't bother providing me with the information I actually need. So I waited for her to come back. Didn't get a reply for an extra week, so I nudged a few times, which then ended up delaying my repeat prescription a lot. And during this time was when I was looking at the other clinics to decide if or where I was going to transfer to. I decided to go with Alternative because it's a new clinic in the UK, but it's from a bigger, already existing clinic in Australia. So I looked at their website, the Australian one, because the UK one doesn't have a lot of information on it really, or it didn't when I was looking. The Australian website had a lot more information on it generally, including lots of helpful blog posts as well, which not many of the UK clinics have either. Like, I do think the UK clinics could do with having more useful, informative blog posts, because a lot of the time you're just finding out stuff that you didn't know you should have been thinking about or planning for. But like, the main thing that they said on their site is that they were empathetic, sympathetic to their clients, they were non-judgmental and had a focus on compassion, which I felt like was lacking at Zerenia, particularly with the consultant I had there, but also just generally with how shit the rest of the service was. So yeah, it took a while for me to get the oil from Zerenia before I could then feel comfortable enough to sort out anything with alternate leaf. But I was asking them lots of questions, they were answering them with a lot more detail and were a lot more clear and specific and helpful when it comes to talking about having like a budget, really, that you like. They still don't really talk pricing. They were a little bit more adaptable and open to working with you. They have an online form to fill in for all of your like past health history and stuff like that. So of course I'm talking from the perspective of using this service from a chronic pain point of view. I don't know what the mental health point of view is or would be like. So yeah, they have a quite detailed and good online form. However, it didn't work when I was using it. I think I tried to fill it in 4 times and open different windows and it just wouldn't submit. So I ended up just emailing them my PDFs and being like, this is like most of what you really need from me. I used Canva to compile my physical documents into a couple of digital files to send them, which makes it a lot easier generally. So I did get like an overview from the GP, which doesn't say a lot, to be honest, especially when you're a chronically ill person with chronic pain. Like, it does say your diagnoses, but it's not that specific. It doesn't really go into what treatments you've had, which is why I went this route as well of like making my own PDFs for to send them, especially with my experience of Zerenia, who asked me for more specific documents the day before my first consultation, when I'd been asking lots of this information for weeks and weeks and weeks, like, do I need to provide this, that and the other. I was really trying to get ahead of any of these sorts of issues with this next clinic, because then I took photos of old letters, old prescriptions showing which medications I've already tried for pain relief, photos of the 2 pain management clinics I've been to, some physio ones, all on the NHS, and I think a couple of other things, but I don't really remember. But the online form also lets you fill in things that you've actually done and tried outside of the NHS, which I think is helpful, because a lot of people are not really respected or believed a lot of the time when you have chronic pain and lots of chronic health conditions. So a lot of other people may not have had the access that I've been able to have to certain services and trying different kinds of medications. So I don't know whether that necessarily will be more helpful, that they will also take that into consideration for you, but I just liked that was an option to put in there, because I have tried a lot of shit, my dude. I have a very long list of like homeopathic things I've tried, and yeah, you know, complementary therapies for pain relief, pain management. I've seen a lot of people privately because the NHS services are not great, my love. They are not good when it comes to any of this stuff. So I just sent all of that by email instead and was like, look, this form's just not working. So here is most of what you are asking for. It is the bare minimum of what you need to know about, which is, I think, medication and pain management clinics and diagnoses for this. And then I sent an email to Zerenia that asked for, I don't remember what the word is. What is the word for asking to just not discharged? I think that's the word. I asked to be discharged from their service as I have or was now approaching a different clinic, and that was pretty easy, to be honest. They just sent me a discharge letter. Alternative didn't require to see that letter, and yeah, before I asked for that anyway, I was starting the process of going to be part of the Alternative clinic. I also contacted T21, Project T21, to ask what I needed to do with that when it comes to changing clinics, and they said I just need to tell them what clinic I've changed to, and once I've done it. So I did that, and to be honest, I don't think I'm even really using Project T21 products. I think the clinic I'm now using just gives me cheaper stuff that doesn't necessarily come under Project T21, but is cheaper than the discounted version of stuff I was getting. But yeah, so I saw a pharmacist first at Alternative. The consultation costs covered both the pharmacist and your first pain specialist consultant appointment, and it seems like they are also now like one of the cheapest places to go to for consultation costs. Like everywhere else has changed their prices. Also, since I left Zerenia, their prices have like shot the fuck up. But also now don't charge for repeat prescriptions, but everything else costs a fuck ton more. So I'm glad I changed, because what the fuck. Yeah, I saw the pharmacist first, who was very nice and very kind. Kind of immediately asked why I wasn't already on flower, or if I wanted to take flower, or if I wanted to try it rather. And I was like, you know, I would like to give that a go. This appointment was also quite good for like filling in the gaps I wasn't able to like provide them beforehand because their form didn't work. So it was also just going through my history verbally as well, so at least they could fill in some of those things that I wasn't able to provide in other ways. And then yeah, because the clinic is very new, I actually got to see the pain specialist literally like 25 minutes after this pharmacist appointment, which I was not expecting, but I was very pleased. I was like, yeah, give me that one. Because then it was like, I expected to maybe have a week or two delay between the pharmacist appointment and the pain specialist, so I was glad that actually I could get both done in the same day. I'm not going to say that's going to be everyone's experience, but it was mine because it was a newly opening clinic, so I think they just had more time slots open. So yeah, I basically got all the initial things sorted out. I didn't need any oil because I had had such a delay with oil previously. In this first appointment, we sorted out getting a flower prescription sorted. We went for something balanced because I have never really been any kind of cannabis smoker or anything really. A very small handful of experiences. So I was prescribed Tilray Warlock. I don't know, it has like quite a long name, but it's yeah, quite a balanced one. It's a 9% THC and 9% CBD, and they tried to only give me 10 grams, but it's only available in 15. I was like, I don't really care that much. They didn't know the cost of it when I asked, and their estimation was a little bit mental. So they told me to contact IEPS Pharmacy to ask what the cost is, because that's the pharmacy that they use. Even though like I thought there was a pharmacy directly linked with them, but maybe there is, maybe there isn't, maybe they are planning to get there, but they use IPS at the moment. I mean, I think every clinic allows you to choose whatever pharmacy you want to use anyway. So I contacted them and they basically said that yeah, the price is like, I think it was 60 to 75 pounds for the 15 grams. And again, I have no idea what that means. I was like, yeah, that's a much better price than what I had been quoted before, and that's fine. I will just go for that. I had to confirm all that by email. Yeah, I mean, honestly, both oil and flower have been an experience of getting used to. After this, obviously, I've had another appointment with them where I needed more oil, and again, couldn't get the same oil. So we went with another one that was balanced again. I think it was a 12.5 this time instead, and that was even cheaper than the last one. I think it was about 75 as well. Might have been a bit more than that, I don't remember. 75 to like 90 something. But like, I had, you know, the first oil I'd been prescribed was 150, and that's with the discount. And like, when prices are just not really relatively easily available, or like you're not allowed to ask or be allowed to be told what a lot of the costs are because of weird UK advertising laws, that's been one of the more difficult things for me to get my head around. But yeah, they were able to tell me by email what the cost of the flower was and what the cost of the oil was. So I don't know whether that's just being a newer clinic, they're more willing to discuss it with me, or depending on, I suppose, the staff there. I don't know, but they've definitely been a lot more forthcoming about costs of things. And yeah, it's been an adjustment getting used to pretty much just using any of this stuff, because I have never liked the taste of the oil, and I was like, oh, I'm sure the flower will be better. The flower was hard to get used to. This has a really weird taste and smell. Like, really don't like the smell. And the taste is quite, like, it's very floral. I'm not sure I like that, you know, but it's definitely very gentle. This particular flower product I have at the moment, you know, it's really good for beginners who have literally no idea what they're doing, no idea what their reaction's going to be to medical cannabis, that sort of thing. Because like, genuinely, it's not hard to get high on, but it's hard to get too high, if you know what I mean. Like, the handful of small experiences I had before medical cannabis, the reason why it remained like a small handful of experiences was just because it was way too easy for me to get just like too high and it no longer be fun anymore. It's a really good one for beginners because no matter how much you either put into your vaporizer or how much you do actually vape, it is really hard to vape too much of it to get too high. And yeah, having dropped down to a 12.5 from like a 17 or whatever of the oil, even though this current oil smells more like weed, it doesn't, I don't accidentally get high with it, but I'm currently using quite a bit more of both than I was really expecting. I still have a lot of the flower left. I obviously have been dealing with a lot of pain flare-ups and sleeping problems recently. If you haven't seen it already, I went to Norway and I went with this and my oil. You can see the whole experience there as well, and I don't know if I really specified details on that, but yeah, since having done a lot of traveling around recently and trying to like be out and do things a bit more, I have been having a lot more issues with pain, so I have been vaping a lot more, and I'm taking a little bit of a bigger dose of the oil than I was previously. And I am sort of at a point where I'm like, I don't really know if this is really strong enough anymore, and I'm now sort of like, do I up the temperature of my vape, because the temperature also adjusts how strong it is, and I do think generally I would like a higher concentration oil than the 12.5. But at the start, the flower was great for helping me get to sleep. The oil helps me stay asleep, because yeah, I compare flower is more like cocodamol. It's more like an as and when kind of acute pain, and the oil is a bit more like a gabapentin or pregabalin, which is like one you take every day anyway for just the chronic stuff that's always going on. So yeah, I try to take the oil close to bedtime so it lasts through the night at its most like potent, and I tend to vape right before I go to bed as well, but also sometimes earlier in the day or whatever, depending on my pain levels and stuff like that. So yeah, the vape was helpful with me getting to sleep. It gives like quite a comfortable, soft, hazy, sleepy sleepy kind of high. But yeah, I'm not so sure it's working as well as it was before. So yeah, my next step is trying it at a higher vape temperature, and we'll just see how it goes. It seems to vary how much it does hit me in the evenings, and I don't know whether that's linked to maybe a snack or a drink with it. Like, I do find that sometimes vaping works a bit better if I've consumed something at the same time. Not sure if that's like a thing. Going to Norway, I literally took a small amount with me. I used the original packaging for this, and I put the remainder in just like a jar here. And because I'd had now a couple of oil bottles, I transferred the majority of the oil into the old oil tub and kept a little bit in the new one. I got a travel letter, I got the original prescriptions, but like printed. Obviously they didn't send me the original prescriptions, but they gave me photos. They even brought receipts. I contacted IPS Pharmacy for like proper receipts for those items as well. The Reddit thread or whatever it is of the UK medical cannabis community like were just very scaremongering about going to Norway with medical cannabis, and it seems like a lot of people doing the scaremongering had never even been. So I did make an updated post there to say it was literally fine. Nobody asked me anything in either direction. It was the easiest part of the trip. I said, you know, I brought all of the documents. I brought more than what most people would bring to go abroad in most countries because of how negative the comments and posts had been previously. And I just wanted to make that post to say like, hey, it's really not that big of a deal. It is actually legal in Norway as well, like it is in the UK, that you need to have like a special prescription. And my friend who lives in Norway said as well that they often smell weed in the roads or like on the streets of Oslo as well, so it's not like it's uncommon to just smoke weed out there. So yeah, I brought everything. I only brought a small amount so that if anything did get seized, it would only be like a small loss versus taking literally everything with me. So yeah, made that post, explained some of those details, and they can't read over there. A lot of people got very angry at me for like having a good experience. Like a few people said that they'd had bad experiences and explained their experiences, and I was like, you know, fair enough. But also they weren't the people who were like really angry at me. It was other people who were just angry at me for no reason. I did generally block a few people. Someone compared what I did to driving whilst drunk, which that is literally not even remotely the same. It would be a comparison if I drove high, but that is not what I did. Yeah, like I genuinely, these people were like reaching to just be angry that I had a good experience. I just gave some other people, you know, some advice, or just said, you know, you've got to just get on it quickly if your trip is soon. But you know, I was overzealous and brought a lot of documents, but I was not stopped. I even put my oil in the little like clear baggie for liquids. People looked at that, but they didn't care. So yeah, I never had to use any of my documentation. I was never stopped or asked on the street, particularly not by any police. I just told people, you know, like obviously bring the documentation that you need, but it's really not as big of a deal as a lot of other people have been saying. And yeah, just advised some people that I wasn't stopped or even asked any questions. I'm not saying that will be the exact same for everybody, but it's not as severely in the other direction as a lot of other people were making it out to be. Yeah, like some other people were literally so angry for no reason. It's like, okay, I'm just letting you know that now going to Norway with medical cannabis is really not a big deal. Didn't have any sniffer dogs come over to look at me, you know, literally nothing. And again, like I said, may not be exactly like that for everybody. In both directions, literally, it's like I didn't have weed. I also had other controlled substances like my ADHD meds, my gabapentin, cocodamol, and I just had the prescriptions for those as well, just in case. But like, again, nobody cared. I had also just wanted to share that I'd had a recent good, easy experience, because I'd seen other people basically say that they decided not to bring any of their medical cannabis on their travels to Norway, even on short trips like I had, and I just wanted to make people know that it's worth giving a go, and there are ways that you can do it or deal with it so it's at a minimal impact to you and your medication supplies. Yeah, it's kind of the main notes I made, but also this is kind of just how I take everything out with me. I have a little jam jar with a like pre-ground flour. I have my vape in a little Tupperware box, like literally I've found a way so it all fits in here fine, so it also just doesn't smell. Usually I have my prescription in here as well, and I do also have the little like shovel-y thing and the little brush, and whilst I was in Birmingham I had to clean this thing because it was just not working. I have also, that's the other thing, found it very difficult to find specific information on cleaning this particular kind of vape, even though it's quite a popular one, and I wasn't advised by the clinic what to use or try, so I just asked a friend of mine who I knew vaped. If that is of interest to anyone, maybe I'll make a more specific video about cleaning this stuff. I basically just made like some educated guesses based off of a different video I was watching for a different kind of dry herb vaporizer, and yeah, oh my god, it really was like I'm almost a little bit disappointed I didn't film when I was cleaning it, because it was disgusting. I just didn't realize there were so many like parts of it that I needed to know about and clean, and it was bad. And once I'd cleaned it, oh my god, that thing like vapes like a dream. I was like, I forgot it even vaped like this. But unfortunately I literally didn't really have anything with me. I was in an easy hotel. I ended up using hand sanitizer because the like there's two substances that come out of vaping. One is the herb when it's dry, and the other is like I don't know if resin's the right word, but like a resin. It's very sticky. It's sticky and technically like wet. Is that the right word? I don't know. And there are some parts where both of those things were combined, and wow, disgusting. But yeah, I had nothing to really like clean it out with properly. I didn't want to do anything that was gonna break it, because there were some things I was like, yeah, just soap and water, and I was like, the whole thing? What do you mean? So I mostly just used baby wipes and hand sanitizer because it was so sticky, and hand sanitizer at least like cut through the stickiness and got rid of that, but it was pretty gross. I just genuinely had no idea. I couldn't find videos about this specific vaporizer, and I can't remember what it was called, a sapphire something or other, but I'll put the information here. If you have any questions for me about any of this, please let me know, leave them in the comments. I'll either answer in the comments or add them to a video, or a bit of both, as well as let me know in the comments if you would like to see maybe a video of how I clean my vape, because I can't find it anywhere. and just made some guesses. But also it's kind of gross, it's kind of satisfying to watch or like see how disgusting it was to like clean it. So I don't know, even just as like a satisfying video, if you want to see it, let me know. I can talk over it, answering questions if you want. But yeah, that's my video for this week. Please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. I do still need to make my ADHD meds update video, so maybe that'll be in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you want to see more of from me, or like coming up from me. As I said, I'm a little bit in a sort of pain fatigue flare at the moment, so it has been a struggle to research and make stuff for YouTube. But we keep trying, you know. So yeah, I'll see you next week. Bye.